Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, I am back again. I know it's been a couple of days, and some of you might be saying to yourself, Larry Sharpe at 7 p.m., where have you been? I understand that you would be concerned, but I'm still alive and I'm here. I spent the last 5 days running around New York State. I did 15 stops in 5 days. Some of you saw me, if you follow me on my Larry Sharpe Libertarian page, you saw me going live a whole lot. Yes, 3 times a day for 5 days, supporting both local libertarian candidates, local libertarian affiliates. Got some good press. That's nice. Good press is always good. So I got some of that. That's nice. Good press too. So we got all of that happening. I'm very happy that we did that. I appreciate it. If you want me to be doing well, not just there, but also here in Sharpe Way, you got to like, comment, share. I keep bringing it up. Like, comment, share. It does matter. You can do it. And I know I usually do my AMA on Mondays, but because I was running around upstate New York on Monday and Tuesday, I'm now here doing it on Wednesday. So I thought you might enjoy that. As always, I'm here. Please do me a favor. Like my YouTube page, Facebook page, as I always say. And of course, if you can support the show, it's good because while I'm out there running around, I'm not making money. So if you could sponsor the show, it's awesome. $10, $25, or $100, whatever you can do. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. All right. I want to, if I can, talk about the idea of who will rule the rubble. That's what I talked about. It's a little bit of an exaggeration. It is, a little bit, but not by much. If you live in a city right now, right? If you live in a city in America right now, you're seeing minor issues already, not just the violence, obviously the violence, but that's not every city. But in other cities, even if there is no violence, you're seeing things like delayed delivery in mail, delayed delivery in other things. You're seeing shortages in labor here or there. You're seeing food lines larger than ever. You're seeing food shortages. You're seeing a lot of these little things. And I teased my wife the other day. And the teasing I meant was, I said, you got to remember something now. Since the government response to COVID, we no longer live in New York City anymore. We live in Venezuela. And she laughed and ha, you're being silly. And I'm like, I'm not being silly. We live in Venezuela now, right? This has actually made it to where we are having food shortages. We are making all of those things happen that you thought, well, that would never happen. It is, right? It really is happening. And I'm concerned, right? Because it shouldn't be happening that badly, but it is. So if you're seeing this in your city, you're realizing that things are starting to collapse. They are. And it may be a problem. But where are you hearing people actually talk about the actual problems that people are seeing every day? They're talking a lot about the violence and the rioters and the protesters. All problems, agreed, all problems. But day to day, how do I feel when I have to stand in line, when I can't get what I want in my local grocery store? Now, some of you who aren't living in cities aren't seeing that. When I was out across the state in more of the rural areas, I didn't really see it that much. But in the cities, I did. In the cities, when we were stopping by to get food as we went around, in the suburbs and the rural areas, almost everything was open. But in the cities, a lot of things were closed. They were closed. Where I live, 4 stores in a row, storefronts in a row, for lease, for rent, for lease, for rent. That's happening everywhere. My area in Queens is slowly becoming a food desert. I don't live in a poor neighborhood where there's food deserts, and we talk about that all the time. I live in a middle-class neighborhood. Renters, owners, mixed, all those things. Yeah. We're becoming a food desert because the stores are actually either running out of food or they're shutting down. Literally, they're shutting down. So we have to drive. I live in New York City, where you have to drive to get your food. There is a place in my area where to get a dozen organic eggs now, if you want organic, I know some of you don't care, $7. I'm not joking. $7. That's what's happening right now in New York City. It's coming to your city if it isn't there yet. As you know, it always comes to your city eventually. This is a bigger problem we're not seeing. We're worried about who's gonna be president or governor or mayor and all those things. And all of a sudden now we're going to worry about who's going to rule the rubble that's left. There are problems that are happening now in this country that we're not even talking about. And I know some of you are seeing it. I know it's happening, and we have to repair it. Let me grab a couple of these comments if I can. As always, ask me anything. Hey, Michelle. Good talking to you. Good evening, of course. Yes, I was up in Afton. That was a great event. We got good press. Some of you might have seen that. The Binghamton station, channel 34, actually covered us, sent a reporter with a camera. We got TV press in Binghamton, New York. The man himself, Thomas Queter, who's running for state senate, actually got TV press, and it was positive. It was great. That was the amazing thing. It's why I went out there, right? The sad part is, and I talk all the time about being more popular, and that matters, right? I went upstate. I'm not running for anything. I went up to help others out. People say, well, why are you doing that? Because sadly, I'm popular in New York State. I literally got recognized while I was running around, and people with me saw it. I got recognized every day. Someone said, oh my God, you're Larry Sharpe, aren't you? My boyfriend loves you, or my friend loves you, or something like that. Or I saw you on Joe Rogan. Happens all the time. So I went to Queter's event, and the reporter was very interested in me. Now, of course, if you saw what I did, I talked about Queter, right? So I gave the spotlight to him when the reporter cared about me. That's fine. I don't care. Good. If they show up because in New York State, you know who I am. If I'd gone to Pennsylvania, they'd be like, Larry who? But anyway, in New York State, they know who I am. So they'll show up and they remember me from my last two. I mean, this is the third time I've crossed the state. They remember me again. And others are getting the press that we need. And for those of you who've run and become popular in your local areas, copy me. Do that in your local areas and help out people who are running. So thank you, Jesse. Next time, maybe. Welcome back. Yes, I am back. I told you I'll be doing only 2 or 3 of these every week, probably for the next 4 or 5 weeks while I keep crossing the state. So yes, hardcore followers did know where I was. That's true. A lot of those did absolutely know. Yes. We need people in every state just like you, Larry. Maybe we can really make an impact. Yes, Brian, please copy me. Please copy me. If you live in a state and you're at all popular in your state, and don't get me wrong, I'm not super popular. I'm not. But enough people know me that if I walk into a diner, someone goes, didn't I see you before? And press wants to come out. We actually got press 4 times. 3 times it was local newspaper. And once it was local, local TV. So it was all of those. So in fact, you know what I'm going to do? Hold on. For those of you, let's see if I could do this right. For those of you who didn't see it, I'm going to try my best to do this right. Give me a couple of seconds, and I will do this correctly. Let me answer some more questions. I'm sorry. Could we make interrupting birthday parties a libertarian recurring standard? All right. Let me tell you the birthday party story. Some of you don't know what that means. I was upstate, and what people don't realize is sometimes people don't show up. I was in a very deep blue city in New York State. Ithaca is a very deep blue city. And I showed up, and it was like one person there. That's it. Me, guy who's with me, who came with me, who was driving me and helped me out, and one person. That was it. Nobody else. So I show up like, okay, I guess I'm doing a one-person event today. But no, there was a birthday party out there. And one guy at the birthday party, he knew who I was. He goes, oh, my God, you're Larry Sharpe. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I saw you on Joe Rogan. Oh, yeah, great. I said, what's going on? He's like, oh, it's a birthday party, whatever. I said, okay. I said, do you guys mind if I talk to you? And then one guy gave me a little bit of pushback, and they said, no, go ahead, talk to me. So I crashed the birthday party, set up my tripod, and I talked to the birthday party. So if some of you remember that one, there was a lot of pushback. They were like, no, Cuomo's doing a great job, but you libertarians want this. And I was happy. It actually excited me. I was actually out there preaching not to the choir. I was preaching to people who think Cuomo was doing a great job. This woman literally led with that. She was like, he's doing a great job. Literally, that's how she began the conversation. And for those of you who know my Governor Cuomo, he's not doing a great job. But she thought that, and hit me hard. And if any of you watched me, I didn't fight her at all. I simply asked her, I said, I was quiet for a second while I took in what she said. It was like she said, and the sky is red. Just I took in. And then I said, okay, I have a plan if you want to hear it. And she kept like fighting me, right? Oh, this, that, this. And I said, I have a plan if you want to hear it. And she kept talking. I just repeated it. I have a plan if you want to hear it. I never fought her. I just said, if you want to hear it, I have a plan. Do you want to hear it? Eventually, she said yes. And I told her my COVID response plan. At the end, she wasn't all of a sudden a libertarian. But she did say, I usually don't like politicians, but I like talking to you. And that was good, right? She actually said that. And at the end, I also said, you asked for a plan. I didn't give you, he's bad, she's bad. Didn't give you rhetoric. I gave you a plan. And she said, yes, I respect that. That's reaching across the aisle. That was so good. So yes, John, I think you are correct. We should make interrupting birthday parties an absolute standard. Love that. Thank you. Absolutely. So they'll blame us on capitalism. Sadly, David, they will. And they already are. You're right. We will have to really deal with that. We will have to work on that. It's going to be a challenge for us because they're going to say that. Who Will Rule the Rubble? Barney and Betty. Did you actually do a Flintstone reference? Dude, you're giving your age away like me. I know that. The people at 30 go, what's that? Yes, it's a Flintstone reference. But cute, though. Absolutely cute. We don't want the Civil War. At least I don't. Me either. I'm with you, James. I don't either. Yes. How bad does it have to get before people wake up and realize government needs to shrink? Paul, I'm going to give you a very important insight, I think, that many people don't get. People don't turn around because things are bad. People don't revolt because things are terrible. That's not why they revolt. They revolt because things are bad, and this "and" is a critical piece. There's hope. It doesn't matter what kind of hope. If there's no hope, people just sit in a horrible spot. There's a term for it. It's called learned helplessness. That's literally a psychological term. That if you care about that, you can look it up. That's what happens. We just sit here and stay helpless and literally just die. That's what people do. The Russians stayed under the horrible Russian, Tsar for 300 years or whatever number, hundreds of years it was, until they had hope. Sadly, their hope was communism, but it was hope. And because communism preached a good game. See, we'll all be safe and we'll all be equal and life will be good. And that gave people hope. So they said, you know what? Communism has to be better than this king thing. Not sure it was, but besides the point. The point I'm saying, Paul, is it's not just because things are bad. They are bad, but that isn't the critical piece. They must be bad and we must see hope. I want us to be hope. If any of you watched any of my Go Lives this weekend and these last 5 days, that's all I spoke about. We are the answer to heal this party. Yes. Why are we the only district in New York that has these restrictions? This is ridiculous. This man is holding us hostage in the city as well. Yes. Here is a crumble. I'm not sure what that means. The reopening comes with a host of restrictions. Diners must get the temperature. Yes. Oh, yes. Must get a temperature check before entering restaurants. Wear a mask inside. And at least one member of each party must provide contact information for contact tracing this outbreak at the eatery. Yeah. So don't worry about it. Our secret state police will take care of everything. That's what they're saying. Yes. Nobody's talking about it, but our grocery stores here have stayed short on lots of stuff. Yes, Michelle, this is happening everywhere. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. We need this content available on radio, AM, FM, XM. I agree. So hook me up with your contacts. Let's make it happen, brother. Let's do it. I love it. It's hard to find canned veggies. Meat is extremely expensive. Yes, all of in my area, and if it isn't your area, it will be soon. It will absolutely begin to happen all over. You're totally right. All the prices are starting to go up. Yes. Did you try Food Nation in Queens or Metropolitan? Yeah, but now, like I said, then I'm driving there. I can go there. I live in New York City. I shouldn't have to drive to get my food. I mean, that's the point. I should be able to walk to my local grocery store. That's one of the reasons you live in a city. right? That's one of the reasons. There's the benefit, one of the benefits. I'm losing more and more benefits of living in this city. Well, then why live here? Which is why cities are crumbling. That's why cities are crumbling, because the benefits of living in the cities are going away. David, you're right, but then why am I driving? I might as well move to the suburbs then. You can't even find canning jars here. Yes, because people see it, Jesse, and they're acting accordingly. People see it and they're acting accordingly. You are exactly correct. Yes. Take heart, restaurants can reopen at 25% capacity. Yeah, I kind of knew that was sarcasm without the hashtag, but thank you for the clarity of the hashtag. 100%. Yes. Was there a lot of turnout for the full Sharpe? It was very varied. Very varied. Did I say that right? Yes, very varied. There were some areas where literally got one person, 3, and some I got 25, over 25. So it really depended upon where I was going. The issue is when across a state like New York, I can't just only go out on the weekends and only do night events. So I cross the state to the best of my ability. Some events are morning, some are afternoon, some are evening, some are weekday, some are weekend. You know, if I have an event on a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., I'm going to have less people than a Sunday evening at 7, right? So generally speaking, the time and day dictated how many people showed up, but relatively great. I mean, my first event, I think, was a Friday, like at 11 a.m. or something like that on a Friday. Not a great time at 10 people. That's amazing, right? It's amazing. My evening events, I had a whole lot more, 20, 25. I had a whole lot more. It was great. So yes, many of them were good, but it was varied, heavily based upon the time of day, but also where I was. Some of the areas, I go to every county, and some counties have very few people, and some have obviously millions. So it depends upon the county. So that also. Overall, I was very happy. All of my videos that I was doing were getting somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 total views. Awesome. Happy to see that. I got four bits of press out of it, most local, but some press, some reporters came out. All good. I think it was a win, Pete. I was happy with it. It can always be better, but considering COVID and day of the week, very happy. Excellent. How do we react as citizens when situations happen like in Rochester? The thing I've been talking about forever. Ask, demand, talk about real solutions. The problem is all we talk about as a society, not you, Jonathan, not me necessarily, as society, is retribution. That's what we talk about. Well, we call it justice, but what we mean is retribution. We talk about retribution. We talk about passing new laws. That's all we talk about. And the laws are to punish people. It's retribution. Violence doesn't work. I'm sorry. Violence does work as a terrible short-term solution. It's just it's not a long-term solution. So let's start talking about solutions. When a bad thing happens, use it as an excuse to come up with change for real solutions, not retribution. If the goal of your solution is punishment, it's not a solution. If the goal of your solution is this doesn't happen again, that might be a solution. And there's the issue. If it ends with, and then we'll punish, and then they'll go to jail, and then we'll punish cops, that's not a solution. That's retribution. And if that's what you want, I get it. Go do it. But man, I don't like that idea. It's a terrible idea. It's going to lead to what, James was talking about, the Civil War. I don't want that. I want you to talk about actual solutions. Push that and things will change. Then we complain about regentrification of older established neighborhoods all the time. Larry, I could send you home with lots of organic eggs straight from the source. Jesse, thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. I'm a truck driver and I used to deliver there when I delivered to New York City. So, thank you, David. Yes, they are good. Yes. Let's see here. I have so many eggs. If anyone needs, just ask. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Yes. Move up like everyone else. House Square Street for me has been vacant for 16 years. Wow. Terrible. Oh, my God. Terrible. That's a problem. Yes. Brian, yes. I don't want to be ruled. This is what I talked about. We have left and right people deciding who will rule the rubble, who will rule the ashes. I don't want rubble. I don't want ashes. And I don't want to rule or be ruled. I'm with you, Brian. None of that. Absolutely. Yes. Next time you come upstate, go to local farmer markets and stock up. Good idea. I should have thought of it. Actually, I brought back some New York State wine. So I did a little bit, right? My wife likes wines. We brought back some of that. Yes. Awesome. Speaking of that, let me do this now if I can. I'm going to show you the actual video that we got from upstate. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a great piece. And it's positive. That's the best part. It's actually positive.
New York State. Okay.
And here we go.
To unseat Fred Akshar in the New York State Senate is getting help from a former gubernatorial candidate. Larry Sharpe, who ran for governor of New York in 2018, is currently traveling across the state promoting candidates from the Libertarian Party. Sharpe made a stop outside the Afton Inn today to promote Thomas Daniel Queter, who is running against Akshar for Senate District 52, which includes Binghamton. This is the third year in a row that the former Marine, that is Sharpe, has toured the state with the goal of making 66 stops in 11 weeks leading up to the election. Sharpe says if you feel ignored by your party, then you should vote Libertarian.
If you're good with status quo, stick with status quo. I would argue, and I believe in my heart, the vast majority of New Yorkers are not happy with status quo. This is a beautiful state. It's amazing, this state, what it brings out in people. The problem is, while we love our state, we hate our government. If you fix our government, this state will blossom again.
Sharpe calls New York the battleground state, saying what happens in New York will create a ripple effect that will go through the rest of the country. Queter says having Sharpe's support shows how dedicated to the people the Libertarian Party is.
He's not in a race right now, and he's still going to every county. Why? Because he cares. That's libertarians. We do this because we care. We don't have money. We don't want riches and power and all of that. What we're actually seeking is to improve our communities. I mean, we are people who are doing this because we care about our communities.
Queter's campaign says it wants to give people with disabilities the service that they should already have, while also strengthening the local economy. Election is November 3rd.
You guys, I hope enjoy that. That was some actual press we got positive in upstate New York. And this is what we're trying to achieve, right? So we don't want to be ruled. Now, he said we don't want power and riches. I kind of want the riches part. I don't want the power part, but I do want the riches part. So I love Thomas Queter. He's amazing. I'm glad we're able to help him out. I'm glad we're able to get some press for him and move him forward. By the way, if you want to check him out, you head over to Tom452.com and go ahead. Yes. Tom's my neighbor, great guy and friend. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely. 100%. So I live in Westchester suburbs. We're very lucky to be in a peaceful, affluent area, but I hope the riots and looters never come up here. Me too, Paul. I hope they stop, period. Absolutely. Yes. CNBC wrote an article about inflation beginning to rack up due to deficits and money printing. Yes. Everything's getting more expensive. Absolutely. It's happening. It was going to happen. This is the thing I was talking about 6 months ago. You can't just shut down an economy for 6-8 months and then expect no horrible repercussions. Remember something, guys, and I want you to say this. I say this. We should all say this. It isn't COVID-19 that tore up our economy, that destroyed jobs and businesses. It's not that. COVID-19 hurts people. It doesn't hurt economies. It doesn't hurt companies. It doesn't hurt businesses or jobs. The government response did that. So I lost my job because of COVID. No, you lost your job because of the government response to COVID. You may have lost your uncle or aunt or grandma or grandpa to COVID. That's possible. COVID's real. But you didn't lose your job because of it. You lost your job because of the response. Have you been invited back on Joe Rogan or do that when you run for LP again? Could I go back on Joe Rogan? Probably yes. Do I want to go back on now? No. I want to go back on when I'm running, when I need that press. That's when I'd want to go back on. So thank you. I would love to, James. But I could probably do it. I mean, I could probably. I mean, he's crazy popular and busy now, so I don't know where I'd even fit in the schedule. But I probably could. But why would I? Just to go, hi, I'm Larry Sharpe guy? No, not the answer. If I run again, I would absolutely try to get back on. Any tips to convert upstate Republicans libertarian? Yeah, I think is the number one thing, right? Get them to vote libertarian once. That's number one piece, right? And I tell everybody this. If you live in New York State or California or any of the deep blue state or deep red state like South Carolina, Oklahoma, you don't get to choose the president. You don't get a choice. It's irrelevant. Who cares, right? So it doesn't matter. So if you're in Oklahoma, why are you voting for Biden or Trump? If you're in New York, why are you voting for Biden or Trump? Trump's going to get Oklahoma. Biden gets New York. That's it. Done deal. So vote gold. Why wouldn't you? And if you're going to vote gold, look up our candidates like Joe Jorgensen. Look them up. Why don't you do that? But more importantly, what if you live in a gerrymandered district, right? You know that your district is heavily red, gerrymandered, or heavily blue, gerrymandered. You know who's going to win. You're throwing your vote away. Vote for Libertarian. Look at him. Check it out. But more importantly than all that, that's just easy for this election. But when there's no election, it's actually grossly simple. Ask what they actually want. Ask about the outcome that they want. And then ask, is their party delivering that outcome? It isn't. And when it isn't delivering that outcome, talk to them about a libertarian solution that will deliver that outcome, not the way to get there. So don't say, I want, school choice, which is what most Republicans say, or I want, better funded schools, which is what most Democrats say. Say, don't you just want better schools? Yeah. Let me give you a libertarian answer to find some better schools. I think that's one of the ways to start doing it. Any type of talk like that is a lot of conversations. Have them based upon the outcomes that we agree upon. Number one. Great. I mention your name every time someone is interested in learning about libertarianism. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. I hope to God libertarians get elected soon and turn and change this country around to what it should be, a non-authoritarian government where we should have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Andrew, amen. Good prayer. Let's make that prayer every night. I'm in. Yes, 100%. Yes. All righty. I saw that. You did a great job. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. How can anyone think he's doing a great job when New York State has the most? Yes, Paul, that's my point. You've read my mind. There's no way that she should think that, right? She shouldn't, but she does. And there are literally millions of New Yorkers who feel just like her. That's why I didn't fight her. I wasn't going to win in a battle. If she's like, Cuomo's doing a great job. If you think that, there's no way I can fight you. But I can just give you my idea next to it. It's how most of my policies work, Paul, right? Most of my policies. My policies are rarely ever abolish this, abolish that. Because the people like her will think I'm insane and fight me and stop it. It'll never happen. But if I say, I've got a plan, they go, oh, yeah, that's a good plan. So you think Cuomo's awesome. Leave him there. Cuomo's awesome. Great, good. Here's my plan. What do you think? And what happened at the end of that was, it's not a bad plan. That's what happened. Which means maybe, just maybe, Cuomo isn't awesome. Now, she probably still thinks Cuomo's awesome. But what just happened is she just began to think, maybe someone else is. Maybe. And I'm okay with that. That's how we make that shift. Yes. Larry, they don't want to hear it. Why do you think I asked her 3 times, Cliff? If you watch it, you can go back on my Larry Sharpe Libertarian page if you want to see it. Some of you saw it. Brian saw it. He knows. He saw it. I had to ask her 3 times because you're right. She didn't want to hear it. So I asked her politely 3 times. I didn't fall for her bait. She wanted me to fight. I wasn't going to fight her because Paul's right. I would have lost. You're right. She didn't want to hear it. But when I asked her 3 times, she actually said, okay, This guy really wants to, and he did. He went and did it. Yes. So the Democrats, Republicans have had decades to deliver on the promise of utopia. I know. One more tax to achieve prosperity. Just one more tax. One more tax, Pete. I know I take 65% of your money, but just give me 75%, and then we'll have the socialist utopia that I've been promising for decades. Just one more. Yes, one more. One more war to achieve security. One more law to achieve safety. Yep, they promise utopia, and they're still at it. Yeah, they keep promising, but it ain't working. That's for sure. It ain't working. Yes. Why are you not running this cycle? Joe isn't getting her message out enough to be a real contender. Ian, I hope you're wrong. You know, I don't know, but I hope you're wrong. You might be right. We'll find out in November the hard way. I hope you're wrong. I'm not running because I told you already, guys, to be forward with you. I will run when I can give you a year and a half of serious running. Right? Running for a statewide office as big as New York State, maybe smaller states, not so much, but a state as big as New York or across the country as president, that's a full-time job. You can't have another job and do that and be a contender. You can't work at all. I didn't. I did not work. I didn't take a salary for a year and a half. So, Ian, what you're asking me to do is to not take a salary for a year and a half again. Do you want to not take a salary for a year and a half? Now, that's what I'm saying. Well, you don't have to. No, I do. Because when I run, I ask you all for a lot, and I did. I asked you for your money. I asked you for your... I'm still asking for money. Look at the bottom of the screen. I'm still asking you for money. I ask you for money. I ask you for time. I ask you for emotion. I ask you to show up. I ask you for all kind of stuff. And how in the world can I, with any conscience, point your finger and say, Ian, I know you got extra cash you want to give to your family and friends. Don't. Give it to me. I know you could be home with your family and friends. Don't. Come to my event. If I'm not going to give you 100%, who am I to ask that of you? And when I run, I will ask that of you. All of you watching, I will bug you all for time and money and energy, but only when I am prepared to do it too. I just couldn't do it this year. And it's unfair for me to take your money and your time and your energy and your emotion and throw it in the garbage if I can't give you every single bit of what I'm asking of you. It's unethical in my view. I won't do it. So that's why I didn't run. When I think I could do a good job and make impact and make you proud, I'm in. I'm in because I need you with me. I can't do it by myself. It's impossible. So I hope that answers your question. That's why I didn't run this year. I mean, I ran for the VP slot when the judge was trying to become the president nominee because he had money, he had time behind him, people behind him. He agreed with my plan. Like I have a specific plan of how I want to do things that I learned from New York State. He was the only candidate that agreed with that plan that was running. The others didn't agree with that plan. So why would I run when I would have thought I would have been ineffective? Right? So I believe that without my plan, we would be ineffective. No one else believed that except for the judge. He was like, yes, Larry, your plan's correct. I'm in. That's when I jumped on board and said, okay, if you're going to do my plan, we're in. I mean, you guys saw the campaign I ran. I made a lot of mistakes. But man, did we learn a lot. We learned so much. I think I know how to make this work. And I'm still doing it. So that I hope all those answered your questions. Good. Food prices are going up because the Fed is printing trillions of dollars. That's part of the reason, but there's another part on top of that. It is that, yes, and people aren't working. They're having trouble finding workers. They're having trouble paying people extra. They're worried about people getting sued. And it's breaking also labor costs up also. So both of those are going to happen. Yes. Are you going to run for governor again? We need you. Thank you, Edward. I'll be looking at that next summer. If I do run, it will be, I'll announce next summer if I do, because that would be, as I spoke earlier with Ian just now to Ian, I need a year and a half. I need a year and a half to have any chance at real impact, to get my message out, and for Ian, as he said, to be a real contender, right? If I can't do that, I can't be a real contender. And when I run, Edward, I'm going to bug you. I'm going to tell you, give me money, give me time. Come to my events, share my stuff on Facebook. I'm going to be bugging you for stuff. And who am I to sit here and bug you if I can't do it myself? Right? So I'm looking at it, but we'll see. Yes. We can hardly get cleaning supplies. Yes. See, same thing. Yes. He says it's ridiculous. We're seeing shortages already. We live in Venezuela. So I say that to my wife for a very important reason. I wanted to have her realize that we live in Venezuela now, so lower your expectations. And that sounds horrible, but lower your expectations. We're going to be in Venezuela for at least a year. Get that into your head. That's how it's going to be. Act accordingly. Act accordingly. And Karen has. We've begun stocking shelf-safe food in our basement for the second wave. Yes, Karen. Yes. And you have. You're acting totally. Yes. Supply chain and food manufacturing distribution was not prepared for the COVID shutdowns. Thank you, Clip. Yes, that's what I meant, Paul. It wasn't only that. It is that. You're correct. And also what Clip's talking about. Yes, absolutely. Paul's also on board buying that stuff, right? For the last 30 years, Paul, you are not playing games. All right. Yes, I like that. 100%. If a CNN, MSNBC, or Fox asked you to bring this show to their airwaves, would you? I probably would. Why wouldn't I? The question is, would they accept me, right? Probably the best chance of accepting me would have been prior to Trump, CNN. That's prior to Trump. Because CNN, prior to Trump, while they were left, they were near as far left as they are now. They were left, but not as far left. Now they're MSNBC, CNN. Well, hold on. What side are you looking at? Is that you for left? Whatever side you're looking at. Yeah. Far left. That's the view. Yeah. Far left. So for them to pick me up, I don't know. Fox is far right. I don't know if they would pick me up. I don't know if they would. So, but yeah, I would. Absolutely. Let them crumble. Humors are not meant to live so compacted. Stephen, this is an interesting point you bring up. There's a part of me that I get what you're saying, right? And I think that's going to happen naturally. We are not supposed to live in cities like New York City. You're right. But the crumble part is the hard part. What I wanted to happen in my perfect world, Stephen, is as we would see that technology is allowing us to kind of, decide that we can live in other areas, commute through the internet, that we would slowly decide to move out of cities. And I think it was some sci-fi writer. I've forgotten the book now. I don't remember the book. There was a sci-fi writer who wrote a book about that house. In fact, I remember there was a movie about it. They didn't talk about it much. Bicentennial Man was based upon a book. That's about a robot who lived for 200 years. And over the time, cities began to become less valuable and people moved out to the suburbs. That was written probably in the 70s, maybe, I'm guessing. And I wanted that to happen. I didn't want it to happen in this type of shock because too many people are hurt by the crumble. I think you're right, Stephen. I just don't like the way it's happening. I wish it would have happened slowly as we dissipated and realized that the cities aren't as important as they were. Some people like living in, bustling areas, but doesn't mean you have to live in an 8 million person, 9 million person, 12 million person city. I don't know. How about a 100,000 person city? I'm with you. I wish it wasn't that. I wish it wasn't that shocking. Fast. That's what I mean. Yes. Yes. Let's see. Larry, please tell the most important court we have and why. There are many courts in the United States, criminal, civil, all different types. The most important court, without question, is the family court. Not even close, most important. Sadly, in New York State and many other states, family court is looked upon as the children's table. Not that important, who cares? The big one is the big civil lawsuits or going to Supreme Court and issues of Constitution or, the big guy who's the serial killer and the murderer or the guy, the criminal court where you put the guy behind bars for embezzling $1 million, $10 billion, whatever. No, completely wrong, backward. Because if you had a better family court system where children, particularly children, but also adults. But if children were treated better, if fathers and mothers were treated better, to where we had a fairer, better court that right now literally supports deadbeat moms and dads. If you're a bad mom or a bad dad, you are supported better than if you're a good mom or a good dad. If you make it better, we'll have better children, better families, happier people. You have that, you have less criminals, less fights, less civil suits. What is every prison filled with? Men who had no father in their life. The largest majority of every prison is filled with that. That's the largest piece of every prison in this country. Men, or about 90% of all prisoners, and those men who did not have a father in their life, always the majority. Put the family together, you will have less. You'll have less of a need for the other courts. Thank you, Edward. Absolutely. Seems like it's young Americans so angry. How do we show them when they are not violent? Put them back to work. That's your answer. Put them back to work. Do that. What people want is three things. I bring this up all the time. I talk about happiness, and I bring it up all the time. Happiness, three things. A person needs to feel loved. That can be romantic love, but doesn't have to be. Can be family love, friend love, can be anything but love, platonic love, totally fine. But you have to feel loved. You have to feel respected. And that is usually from some form of career or job, but not required. But usually that's where most people will get their respect from. And third, you need purpose. What the young people don't have is purpose. So here comes the explosion. There's your purpose. We literally put them away for no purpose, and that's it. Here's a purpose, and they jumped on it. And we wonder why that happened. The response to COVID set this up perfectly. Set it up, and boom, off it goes. Absolutely. That's how. By literally giving them purpose and putting them back to work, right? If you have all three of those, you're probably happy. If you have two of them, you're probably okay, and it's easier to find the third. If you only got one, you're struggling. If you have none, you're in a bad spot now, and you're probably trying to self-medicate, or you may even fall into a position where you feel like you're unworthy, and you start self-destructive behavior, either unconsciously or consciously, or you just self-medicate to escape the realities of not having any of those three. So let's all try to get those three. And if government is going to exist at all, its job should be to try to help us get all three so we can pursue happiness. Love, respect, purpose. We have those three things. Life is good. You want to make them not angry? Give them some purpose. All right. The full Sharpe. I'll be on Staten Island, Z-Zone 1 Richmond, on Richmond Avenue from 3 to 5. Yes, I will, Joe. Thank you so much. I am still out there rocking and rolling. I'm heading to Atlanta on Saturday. And then I'm going to be in Manhattan and Staten Island on Sunday. So I'm not done. 66 stops in these next 5 weeks, I think, left. 66 stops in the next 5 weeks. Absolutely. Yes. How should we react to the riot and uprise? Tolerate it? I don't agree with any of it in any state where it has happened. No, not at all. This is the error that we made. I discussed this months ago. Months ago, I discussed this. How do you deal with protesters or rioters? When something like this happens, the first thing you do is not crackdown. Crackdown's not the first thing. There is a time for that. There absolutely is a time for law enforcement to come in and start doing its job. 100%. Not initially. Initially, you come out with a plan, which, by the way, I did. Remember when this happened? George Floyd happened? I came with my QICC, my quick plan. Then within a week later, I came up with my FAQS, facts plan. You mean a plan. You come out, you meet the protesters physically, you as the governor, mayor, county executive, and you say, guys, I hear you. Here's a plan. Let's talk it out. Let's find an answer to make things better. Please go home. I got you. Let's have a time where we'll sit down and chat again to make the next step. Let's hold each other accountable. on getting this thing forward. You talk that, yeah, and that might be hours of conversations and hours of walking. That's how you start it. After you've done that, then you go home. Anyone left out, now you bring the police in. That's how you deal with it. You first give the people who are really concerned, who really want to make things happen, who really want change, give them a plan and a course of action and a next step. Show them you hear them, ask them to go home. You then, after being there, go home. Anyone left, in come the cops. That's the way you should deal with it. That's the way you deal with it. And of course, let them go to work. Pretty tough to protest for 5 weeks in a row when you got to be at work 9 o'clock in the morning. Pretty tough. So that's how we should be reacting to it. Saying I hear the worry and concern, giving an actual plan to make things better, not retribution, not justice when justice is just punishment. A plan to make things better. Then police force. I hope that was clear, Jonathan. That's how you do it. There's an order to these things. People always want a black and white answer. Trash them. People got so mad at me over the meme that was up on my page, right? Oh, Trump says shoot him. Dude, I don't really think Trump says shoot him, guys. Come on. I'm going to quote Biden. Come on, man. Right? Stop that. You know, I don't think that Trump wants to shoot all the protesters. Of course not, right? I'm not saying that. But that's what each side says, right? Every Democrat says Trump wants to kill them all and bring in troops and kill everybody. And the right says, oh, the left wants to join in and throw firebomb and burn the whole place down. That's what each one says. But how about we fix it? And then whoever's left, then they don't want to fix it. There's not much chance of getting the wrong people in there. If you give them the option, those who care, here's a way we'll fix it, move away. But one step. Of course, I'm not saying bring the cops in and shoot them. I want to be clear in case someone thought I was saying that. If you know me, you know I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is bring the cops in, arrest the people who are doing the bad things, whatever those things are, property, whatever. Give them due process because the cops could be wrong and the people may be making mistakes, whatever. And if that means prison time, then that's what it is. I'm not against that, as long as they get due process. And as a leader, I give the people who really want change a chance to go, you know what? I'm good with that. Governor, mayor, county executive, I'm head home. Give them a chance to do that. And most, I really believe in my heart, Jonathan, the vast majority of people would have gone home. They would have gone home. And if they would have gone home, the only people left. So that's, I think, how you handle it. I hope that was clear. Yes. If Trump pardons Snowden, does that torpedo any chance that Jorgensen would have, regardless of how you feel about the situation? I don't know. I don't think Trump would pardon Snowden. Trump has been anti-Snowden. And so all the establishment's anti-Snowden, right? Trump's anti-Snowden, so's Biden. It's not like it's only libertarians actually care about Snowden to be forward. I think the Greens are against him too. So really only libertarians are pro-Snowden. It's a good question. I don't know. I think it wouldn't be a bad move politically because it would definitely shake things up, right? He'd get a whole lot of press, shake things up. I think he'd pull a bunch of libertarian votes. I think he would. I think Trump would pull libertarian votes. The question is, I don't know how many libertarian votes there are for him to pull, but I think it would pull some. I think it would. Larry, are you headed to Oneonta County anytime soon? Check my schedule on Facebook. All my events are there. I actually don't know. I know it sounds terrible, but my team puts together all my events for me. And by the way, if you're watching, thank you so much, team. You're amazing. I could not do it without you. They put them all together. I really show up, if that makes any sense. So I couldn't tell you where I'm going until someone tells me where I'm going. So yeah, sounds like someone else is running for president. I'm joking. I'm teasing. Yes. Let's see here. Wine for wife, happy life. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. As you guys know, I'm not really a drinker. My wife does enjoy wine. So yes, let's make her happy. Life is good. 66 and 11 weeks. Wow, Larry, I respect you so much more now. Thank you, James, but it's not 11 weeks. He said that he was actually off. It wasn't 11 weeks. It's this. There aren't that many weeks to the election, right? There's only like 8 weeks left. So it's actually more like 66 stops in my case in actually 6 weeks. Yeah, 66 stops in 6 weeks. There are 62 counties in New York State, so I will overlap a couple as I'm traveling. So as I'm traveling, I'll overlap a couple. Some I'll do twice, but I will cover. I just found out last week that I was actually in Chautauqua County 7 times in the last 3 years. I had no idea it was there so much, but yeah, I was supporting them often. Yes. How do we get you on popular podcasts such as Adam Carolla and other popular media outlets? It seems the main issue is getting you the proper exposure to change hearts and minds. Thank you. Tweet them. Bug them. Please do that, Avi. Thank you. Please do that. Absolutely. Yes. Many libertarian voices are being silenced. Many people will relate to our message they only knew. Agree, Clip, which is why I do this. Which is why every single time I bug you and bother you and say, like, comment, share. That's why I do it. We have to build our own media. That's what, yes, you're right. That's why I'm bugging you. I'm not bugging you guys because I'm bored. That's not the reason why. I'm bugging you because that's how we begin to grow. Why is there on the bottom of the screen says sponsor $10, $25, $100? What do you think I do with that money? Facebook ads. Let's do that. Facebook ads away from people like you who already watch, but for other people so they can come in and join us. Yeah, that's what I want the money for, so we can grow. I want to grow this thing more and more and more and more and more. So you're totally correct. That's why I'm growing this. That's the whole purpose. Yes. Thomas is tremendous, great guy. I agree, Karen. He absolutely is. Yes. So we have the most beautiful state in the union. Benjamin, I agree. For those of you who don't live in New York, many people who don't live in New York think New York State is one big New York City. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. New York City is amazing. That's true. Totally amazing, right? Statue of Liberty, UN, Madison Square Garden, Broadway, Lincoln Center, 42nd Street, Ellis Island, Empire State Building, Freedom Tower, boom, 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 boom. Amazing. The best ethnic food you can get any place out of that original area, right? You can probably get better Chinese food in China. But besides that, it's New York City. Probably get better Korean food in Korea. But besides that, New York City, right? I mean, that's where it is. Great stuff. It is amazing. I totally agree that New York City is awesome. However, New York City is one small chunk of New York State. New York State has beautiful mountains, rivers, lakes, Niagara Falls, farmland. I mean, we have history of where so much great stuff in New York State. We're up by Canada. We have maple trees. People don't know that. We actually have that. We have all kinds of things in New York State that people don't know and have no idea about. You're totally correct. It is an amazing state. Anything that you enjoy, great fishing, hunting, camping, whatever is your thing, you can find that in New York. Skiing, snowmobiling, whatever's your thing. We have Niagara Falls. Come on. Amazing. Our state's awesome. Our government's garbage. But our state is amazing. You're totally correct. Upsets me when people leave without trying to make a change by standing strong people like Larry Sharpe. Thank you, Benjamin. I'm trying. I don't want to leave my state. I really don't. I don't. Absolutely. So, bacon went from $2.99 to $4.99 a pound. Wow. Yes, there we go. 100%. Bad policies tore up our economy. Yes, absolutely. Correct. Yep. Let's see if I can grab a couple more. We need libertarian community meetups. That too. I like that idea. Absolutely. Yes. I think you should go on Rogan anyway. He has people of all kinds in the show right now for the election. You can plant libertarian seeds in people's minds. Maybe the issue is, to be forward, I don't want to push the issue. There are literally hundreds of people who want to be on Rogan. I obviously, because I've been on before and he knows me, that I have an in, that I have a better chance of getting on. I'm not guaranteeing I could get on, but I think I could if I was doing something. Why would I want to be on 2, 3, 4 times when there are others who should be on also? I'll push the issue when I run for something. It just doesn't make sense. I would rather build our own, right? Let's build our own so that now we can have our own awesome media and Joe Rogan. Let's do that. So I'm agreeing with you. I just think that this is really, let's work on this. It's better. Yes. Last year we got media. So far this year, Fox is basically part of Trump's campaign. CNN 24-hour Sleepy Joe channel. No coverage of Joe Biden. It is. I agree. Both sides are really spending heavy time on their person. I agree. They're not spending time with us. Yes, absolutely. So, CNN and MSNBC tell the masses every day Cuomo's doing a great job. You're right, John. They do. I see it. I'm crazy. I actually watch both stations all the time. I watch MSNBC. I watch Fox. I watch CNN. I watch them all the time. And I watch both sides. And I see them go back and forth. And if you watch CNN and MSNBC and you don't watch anything else, Cuomo's the greatest governor there ever was. That's what they're telling you every day. You hear it enough times, you'll believe it. Yes. Love your approach. Ron Paul also had that approach, using libertarian ideas or thinking next to left-right paradigm always opens minds. Yes. In the end, we want results, not political points. I'll cover that. Plus, Paul talked about Joe Rogan. I'll bring it up. At the end of my Joe Rogan, if you remember my Joe Rogan interview, at the end of that, Joe was teasing me. And he was like, whoa, where'd you get these ideas from? Did you make them up yourself? Or I said, yeah, me and my team. Not just me, but me and my team. We put them together and we made them. Yeah. He said, you better lock those ideas down. I said, why? He said, well, people will steal them. I said, good. Take them all. All of them. Every single one of them. Go ahead. Then I don't have to do this anymore. I can go back home. I can stop campaigning. I can just go to work and spend time with my family. Please, that'd be amazing. Let's do that. In fact, I literally I beg libertarian candidates to steal my ideas. Just take them. It's not stealing because it's consent. Take my ideas and use them, and they don't even give me credit. In fact, I was at one of these events where someone was literally saying my plan, I'm there. I just nodded my head. Well, yep, great plan. Yep. That's all I did. I nodded my head, said, yes. I didn't say, that's my plan. I said nothing. That's now their plan. They're running. That's their plan. So if you're libertarian, in fact, if you're not libertarian, but if you're running and you like any of my ideas, by the way, they're at LarrySharpe.com. So if you want to take them, give me zero credit, say you thought of them. I'm all good. Let's just make these things work. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. I voted for you in 2018. I still believe you would have been the best candidate for governor of New York. And still remember meeting you at Vito's Cafe in Watertown. Thank you so much, Phil. I appreciate that. Yes. I'm trying very hard to make that happen. Thank you. By asking if she wanted to hear your plan, she had to either admit to herself that she was closed-minded or she had to open her mind to actually hear an alternative point of view. Yes. You left the decision in her hands. Yes. We are the party of consent. I am not about forcing you to believe anything. I want you to want to believe it. Absolutely. You're an amazing libertarian voice. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I'm trying very hard to make that happen. You have to now see conspiracy theories were not theories. Yeah, in some cases, you're right. Not all, though. Not all. In some cases, you are right, though. Absolutely. Some they are. Is campaigning in a devoted blue state preventing you from going nationwide? I can't realistically go nationwide. I can't. Remember, if I'm out, 5 days across New York State, I'm not working, right? I don't have a job, right? I don't have a job. I'm a consultant. I get paid by clients as I provide value. I get paid, right? And those of you who live in that kind of a world or have your own business, you know what I'm talking about. If I'm out doing that, I can't work. For me to cross the country, oh my God. That's what I'm saying. It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. So I want New York State to be better. I want New York State to vote gold. I can wait for someone else to do this, or I can go do it. So I'm going to go do it. But not just that. And I'll go even one step further. If you're running in New York State or any state, but I'm talking about New York in this case, but any state, and you run and you win or you lose, if you become popular in your area, copy me. Do whatever is the equivalent. Travel around helping others. Get other people to be motivated, excited, all those things to go out and vote for the other person now. Right? We have a problem in our movement. It's a bad culture to where people run, lose, they go away. I ran, I lost, Now I help others. We should all do that. And again, I can't point my finger at you unless I point it at myself. Well, I pointed at myself, and now I'm doing it. So now when I bug you, if you're running, and I say, why aren't you out helping somebody else? Well, I get to do that because I pointed my finger at me, so now I'm pointing at you. So is it preventing me from going nationwide? No. My life is preventing me from going nationwide. It's just not something I can do, right? It's not realistic. All right. World is not speaking up for us. God bless you. A platform. We are from Indian occupied Kashmir. Daily innocents sacrificing lives because of brutality in India. I didn't actually hear about that piece. So I should check that out. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I will look into that. I don't know the details of that, so I don't want to comment. I don't know details of that, but I will look into that. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're listening, if you could do me a favor, you know who I'm talking to. If you could look up that, help me out. We can move on that coming up this week. Thank you, Saif. Appreciate that. Good. All right. Let's see here. Do you think that when the left is done paying for and using the Antifa BLM rioters and looters who just pack up and go home, I guess I don't see that happening. They're going to get worse. At one point, yes. I mean, to be forward with you, whenever you have a group of people who are doing things that are negative, eventually that comes back to bite you. That's how it works. The question is, how long? Is it that day or 6 months later? And when they become a problem, they're going to go away. So eventually, yes, they will go away eventually. It doesn't mean things won't get worse. They will get worse. But the rioters and looters and the people doing bad things, yes, they're going to go away because eventually they do more harm than good. And when the people who are enjoying the pain that they're providing, when they think the balance is tipped, they go away. That's how it works. Yes. All right. If you run again, I would help you any way I can with your campaign. Thank you. I will be asking you. Absolutely. Yes. I'm surprised Biden hasn't used his slogan for his presidential campaign. Set it and forget it. Granted, he wouldn't have had to ask Ron Popeil permission to use it. Not sure where that one's going, Andrew. Maybe I missed something earlier. Don't know where that's going. Yeah. There are jobs available that people are passing on because the unemployment is comfortable. I've seen short-staffed also. Yes, Karen, that's an issue, right? That's a double-edged sword, which goes right to the back, the new problem, which is when you decide that the way of fixing any problem is government throws money at it. Well, if you throw money at people don't want you to stop throwing money at them. This is not, rocket science. This is normal everyday math, Karen. If I go, don't go to work, here's $600 a week, stay home. I go, I like that plan. I can keep $600, not go to work. Not a bad deal. And on top of that, eviction forgiveness, rent forgiveness. There's a lot of cool stuff on Netflix. I'll watch TV all day. I'm with you, Karen. I agree. It's a problem. But if we didn't go that route, that wouldn't have happened. For those of you who remember, I gave you a plan 6 months ago that did not include throwing money at people. It actually made people stay at work, or encourage them to stay at work, stay in their homes without rent forgiveness, without debt forgiveness. All it did was do the horrible thing, which we're going to do anyway, which is bail out banks. But that's it. No cronyism, no giving money to my friends, no checks coming from government, no increased unemployment, and we could have kept our economy going. We would have had to bail out banks, but we're always going to bail out banks. I know some libertarians hate when I say that, but it's just where we are now. I hope at one point we'll end. That won't happen anymore, but that's where it is. Karen, your point's a valid one. Once you start giving that cash, you're asking people to not work. Karen, but the worst part of all this is we made our essential workers go work. So the essential workers busted their rumps, doing overtime, going nuts, trying to help and protect us, doing that to the best of their ability, not getting, extra, cash on the side, risking themselves, maybe getting COVID, all that stuff. Meanwhile, people sat home getting $600 for nothing. And now as the economy collapses, the government's going to lay off half the essential workers. So now they got to get laid off. And they don't get the $600. So the essential workers had to bust their rump when other people sat home and got paid. And now when they get laid off, that extra money isn't there anymore. So when they have to stay home, they don't get the extra money. Wow, that's messed up. Could we have made a worse system? I guess if we thought really hard, but really fast, can you find a worse system? And now because we gave them money so that they would have money for the economy, well, now they don't want to work to help fix the economy. Bad, bad, bad. None of that was in my plan. None of that was in my plan. It was the 3-half plan. You might remember that idea. I know I do cheesy acronyms and stuff because people like it. They remember it. The 3-half plan did none of this, Karen. You are completely correct. Thank you for that. Yes. Next slogan should be a sharp contrast. Ooh, I like that. You're hired. Well done. Yes. Let's see if I keep going. The response to C-19 has caused a bottleneck in the factories that process the food. Yes, also true, Brian. Yes. As I mentioned, right, Paul was talking about the Fed. Paul's right. It is the Fed and other things, right? It is that and other things. It just made terrible. Yes. Larry, is a hot dog a sandwich? No, it's not a sandwich at all. It's not. Don't call it that. It's not a sandwich. A hot dog is very special. I'm from New York. It's a separate entity within itself. And hot dogs are supposed to have mustard, not ketchup. If you put ketchup on your hot dog, okay, let me be clear. I'm a libertarian. And I think everyone deserves due process, with 2 exceptions. If you put ketchup on your hot dog or pineapple on your pizza, no due process. You are to be punished immediately. Immediately punished. There may be no ketchup on hot dogs. They're special, Ryan. They deserve mustard. And no pineapple on pizza. I'm from New York. It's a sin. Don't do that. I hope I answered your question. Yes. I think you're too intelligent for CNN or Fox. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Yes. Yes. What about getting linked up with the Blaze? The issue with the Blaze is the Blaze. I like the Blaze, and I know people from the Blaze. I do very much. I've been on there a couple times. I was on a Glenn Beck show, I think 2 times. A couple of the shows on the Blaze. Matt Kibbe has a show on the Blaze I was on. So I've been in a couple shows on the Blaze already. I like the Blaze. The problem is the Blaze then, once you go on the Blaze, you are now within the Blaze network of all your content. And all of a sudden now that becomes my content world, right? So I could do it, but the problem is now if you're not subscribed to the Blaze, that's it, right? You don't get me anymore. And my ability to grow outside of the people who think the way I want people to think, right? People agree with me in general. The idea of me getting out of that shrinks. And I'm much more about impact than I am anything else. And I think that if I go on the Blaze, because it's a paywall, the odds of me being able to grow go down. Would I make more money? Of course. And I'm not against money. I love money. But I'm trying to play the long game. And the long game is growth, not short-term financial gain. So, Eric, I hear you. I get it. I've been approached. I've talked to him. There's a paywall. That's an issue. So I hope that answers your question. Yes. So let's see if I knew it. Bicentennial Man from the mid-90s was so good. Thank you. There we go. Yes, absolutely. So thank you. That it was thank you, Andrew. It was Bicentennial Man. Yes, I'd forgotten what it was. I appreciate that. Bradley Whitford, who played Josh Lyman in The West Wing, was excellent. Robin Williams was so freaking funny and totally awesome in this movie. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, absolutely. All right. See if I can keep going. Thank you, James. It was not Bicentennial Man. The book was called The Positronic Man. Thank you. It was because he had a positronic brain. Thank you. That's correct, James. Thank you for that clarity. Guys, I love you. I say something and you remember and you say it. I appreciate that. Correct. Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on, instead of getting rid of the state lottery, replacing monetary prizes with non-monetary prizes? My idea is to have an all-expense paid weekend long vacation as a grand prize. the reason why I'm concerned about something like that, right, is that the reason why people play the lottery is for the cash. So, I get the idea, right? But people are looking to get the cash. I think people won't play the lottery then. I would rather instead us allow gambling in the state to bring money to the state instead. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I think it is. Yes. Looking forward to seeing you in Western New York. Yes, Jason, I'm heading back out there. Absolutely. Again, yes. I disagree on sending cops in on protesters unless they are violent or damaging property. Otherwise, it should be heard. No, I agree with you, Jared, completely. And what I meant is, again, maybe I wasn't clear. So let me be clearer if I wasn't. What I meant was you don't send the cops in initially at all. You first go talk with them. Then you send the cops in to deal with those who are doing violence, and you give them due process. As I said earlier, I don't think Trump wants to shoot them. I get that sounds great, and it's good, rhetoric. Yeah, he's going to kill him, whatever. Good rhetoric. But in reality, I don't think he wants to shoot him. I don't either. But you arrest the people who are doing damage. Give them due process. If they're guilty, they're guilty. If the cops are wrong, you let them go. All good. But I don't think you send cops in at all until you first let people have a chance of being heard. Then the cops come in and only deal with people who are doing things that are clearly harming property or people or lives or liberty. So thank you for that. I agree. I should have been clearer. So let's see. 5 weeks has been over 3 months. Yeah, you're right, Brian. I just threw that number out. But whether it's 5 weeks or 3 months, if you got to be to work at 9 o'clock in the morning the next day, it's neither. It's not 5 weeks or 3 months. Absolutely. The people want Trump to send the military to stop the protests are ridiculous. If they do that, later on the government could use that power against anyone. Agree, Chris. I don't think it. The only reason why that's even a thing is because the local governments failed. Of course, Trump should not send the military in. Of course not. That's a terrible idea. Local people should have fixed this months ago. I agree. Yes. But prosecutors are refusing to prosecute. In Portland, the same writers are getting arrested after night. This is a local issue, Mike. I'm with you. But if your city, look, you vote for your DA. Mike, if your DA sucks, you got to vote him out. Clearly, the people in Portland are okay with this. And if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that too. Local people, be policed the way you want to be policed. Hopefully, either Portland's going, I'm okay with this, let them out, not tonight, and they're fine with their DA, or they've learned their lesson and go, this is a bad idea. Either way, that's a Portland issue, and I'm okay with that either way. Either they're like, this is how I want to live. Okay, live that way. I'm not moving to Portland. Or they change. So I get it's a problem, but it's only a problem, Mike, if they want it to be a problem, if they agree it's a problem. That's it. I talk about local rule, and I mean that. Even when I disagree, I don't get to decide what communities do. I don't get to decide that. I just don't. I feel like Congress will do nothing until after the election. Tribalism over solutions. Josh, I wish you were wrong, but I think you are right. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. All right. Let's see here. Not talking about protesters, talking about BLM and the other groups creating chaos. I think you mean, will they go away? I think eventually they will, right? Remember something. After this election, it's going to reboot in some way, shape, or form, good or bad, right? If Trump wins, the protesters might come back out again, right? Let's burn more stuff down. They cheated us. If Trump loses, the right is like, what happened? They cheated us. Either way, it's going to be a problem. And to be forward, I know a lot of people who are talking so much like they're sure Trump's going to win or sure, Trump's going to lose. I don't know how anybody can be sure. What data can you trust? What poll can you be sure of? Do I think polling's better than 2016? Yes. And I have no evidence of this. It is just an opinion on how businesses work. They were off in 2016. Now they're going to get better. That's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong on this. But how can I be sure? I wouldn't be surprised if Trump totally wins or totally gets killed and loses. I have no idea. I don't know. Here's what I'm sure of. Two things I'm sure of. Trump's not going to win New York State. That I'm sure of. Will they win the election? Your guess is as good as mine as far as I'm concerned. But he's not winning New York State. I cover this state. He's not winning this state. So that I'm sure of. And second, no matter who wins, there's going to be a lot of unhappy Americans, no matter what. Those are things I'm sure of. So I hope I answered your question, Jonathan. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. I apologize that. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Check out the Finger Lakes region. It's beautiful. Yes, a whole lot. Yes. Yankee Stadium is shit though. The rest are really nice. Why you mess with my Yankees? Karen, I thought it was me and you. And now you mess with my Yankees. Don't do that. Yankees are good. Anyway, thank you. Yes. Michigan is the most beautiful state in the union. No comparison. Ryan, I got to be clear. Michigan's a wonderful state. I've been there. The UP is magical. For those who don't know, UP is the Upper Peninsula. It's magical. But New York's got you beat. Sorry, we got Niagara Falls. And we got two Great Lakes too. I know you got Great Lakes. We got them too. So you're not that special, dude. We got Great Lakes too. Just saying. So, yes. I'm teasing you, Ryan. Yes. Let's say if you have at least 1,000 subscribers, you can apply for monetization on YouTube, but they take 40% of the cut, I think. I love that. So, guys, go to my YouTube page. Do that. I love that. Absolutely. Yes. Let's see. I want to leave my state, but it isn't economically possible. I know the feeling. My God. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Are you going to go for a Veep spot again in 2024? I would consider it again if the presidential candidate believes in my way of doing things. If they agree with it, I don't get to dictate to the presidential candidate how to do things. I don't get to do that. That candidate, he or she, has to agree with my views, or we're not a good fit. Right? This is how it works. You got to understand something. Running for VP in the Libertarian Party is not running for president. It's support staff. That's what it is. Sadly, our party hasn't figured that out yet. We think you're running for VP. It's the same thing. Or you're an activist or something. That's not what running for VP is. Our party has not figured that out. VP is support staff. You are the person who edifies, talks about the candidate, does the right stuff about the candidate, speaks about the candidate. That is what a good VP does. So if that candidate believes that I'm the right person and they agree with the way I think, I would run with that candidate, of course. If they don't, they don't. So I'm open to the idea. I absolutely am. Yes. I think Joe Rogan's like Fareed Zakaria, goes down a libertarian road, but hard left, too many issues. Often true. Often true. Walk down that road. Oh, you're almost a libertarianism, and hard left. Yeah, I agree. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can keep going. A couple more. Taxes will come back on the unemployment. Yes, indeed. Yes. Netflix is cool, and people like Cobra Kai, so I guess it is good. There we go. Yes. If you feed a stray cat, it keeps coming back. Only when you cut the food supply does it disappear. Yes, that's true. But the advantage of a cat, though, is if you stop, a cat naturally has instincts that allow it to hunt. So if you don't feed the cat will either hunt on its own or do something in front of the house. It's good at that. When you spend literally decades, generations of telling people the only answer is government, they don't know how to act without it. For those of you who watched that Ithaca event, one of the gentlemen there, as I was talking about my COVID response, I was talking about the idea of, hey, one of the things we'll do is government will provide some guidelines for retail stores. And he almost jumped out of his seat. Aha! How can you be a libertarian if you're going to have government enforce these guidelines? And I said, who said that? He said, what? You're creating guidelines. You're going to enforce them to do this. I said, I didn't say regulations. I said guidelines. And he just got quiet. Why is that important? Because I didn't say regulation. I didn't say people go out and force you and shut you down and take a liquor license. I just said guidelines, and I meant guidelines. If you follow the guidelines in my libertarian world, you get a government stamp. That's it. If people care about the stamp, they look at it and go, oh, is it a government stamp? I believe in the government stamp. I will go in. If you don't have a government stamp, you still stay open. I don't punish you. I don't enforce anything. And if the customer walks up and goes, no government stamp, oh, no, I don't trust them, you don't go in. Or you don't care about the government stamp, you go in. The consumer decides. That's the issue. The consumer decides. He couldn't imagine that world. Couldn't imagine it. In his world, government must enforce. Government must punish. If you heard the woman when she was talking, but these knuckleheads won't wear masks, you gotta force it. In her world, that's the only answer, is to force it, force it, force it. That's it. So thank you for that. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can keep going with this one. Food was grown for the restaurant industry, went to waste. It wasn't packaged. Yes. Or a steak well done. I assume you mean the burger thing, right? Burgers have mustard too. Burgers can have mustard as long as you have ketchup with it. So yes, okay. So ketchup on hot dog, yes. No pineapple on pizza. Okay, Brian, so I can half love you. I can half love you. It's fine. Okay, there we go. Just saying. I can half love you. I'm teasing, of course, guys. Yes. There might be exceptions to that. Rubin is on a blaze, but not required to be there exclusively. I guess there could, but Dave Rubin is far more popular than I am. And he is able to do different things and make different agreements that I wouldn't be able to make. So your point's a valid one, but not really. That doesn't apply. Dave Rubin and I are in different levels, if that makes any sense. I'm not able to negotiate the way he has. Larry, is anyone listening to you through a podcast app? Yes, I want to. The issue is that takes time and money and energy to get people to put it on, all that kind of stuff. So those of you want to help that, look down below, sponsor $10, $25, $100 a month, patreon.com/Sharpe Way to help me get those podcasts. Absolutely. Mustard on corn and a corn dog. Thank you. Yes. Cops cannot be trusted with due process. It's difficult to answer that issue or to even handle that comment. To say cops cannot be trusted with due process is saying humans can't be trusted with due process. Now, I know what you mean by that. And there is absolutely an issue that is accurate. The current culture, you can't be trusted with due process. But it doesn't mean cops can't. It means the environment now is anti-due process. That's true. The environment now is arrest and put them in jail. They're guilty because I arrested them. The second you're arrested, you're guilty. That's true. We can change that though, right? This does not have to be a long-term piece. The average cop actually wants to go through due process. There are some that don't, absolutely. But the average one does. If the environment tells them, screw due process, this guy's a jerk, put him in jail, then they act accordingly. They're just humans. If the environment says, what are you doing? Where's due process? How do I know that, right? Why am I just saying this? No. The reality of it is DAs have a lot to say. And I had Vinu Varghese on my show last year, maybe. He enlightened me to something that was really important. He enlightened me to the fact that district attorneys have a massive amount of influence on the police force, which wasn't obvious to me until he talked to me about it. If a DA is going to prosecute any and everything after the book at everybody, well, you're right. Why would cops care about due process? Then when they arrest, DA's throwing a book at them, putting them all in jail, patting the cops in the back. Well done. I know you hit him, but you only hit him once, not twice. Life is good. Then it works. If the DAs and all their assistants are saying, whoa, 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 did you go through the process? Is this right? Where's your probable cause? If they're doing it, it affects the police force. Remember, we pick our DAs. Pick DAs who care about due process, and the police force will respond. That's how it works. Remember, the people who prosecute aren't cops. The people who prosecute are DAs. Better DAs makes a better environment, makes better cops. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah. I I don't think he meant the cops would be doing the due process. Yeah, right. So I hope I answered that question. Exactly. Yes. Yes. So, see if I grab a couple more. Wow, running short on time, guys. I appreciate that. Yes. Let's see if I can grab a couple more before that's true. What is the most libertarian state? If you look at states that have done well, or that are more done by Libertarian Party, or that have more libertarian views, I think Wyoming is very high. Many of my policies that I had in New York State, I grabbed a couple of them from Wyoming. I adjusted them. Almost all my policies have in some way, shape, or form been done someplace or in some way before, either private or public sector or something like that, or throughout history. One of them was some of the Wyoming laws, farming laws, things like that. So the Wyoming was also very good for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Some of the business laws are good. So Wyoming's up there for sure. South New Hampshire, relatively. So I think those are in the area. Those types probably. Not New York, but we can fix that. We can fix that. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Mustard and sauerkraut on a hot dog. Yes, Andrew, that is correct. Thank you. That is the right answer. That is exactly right. That is the right answer. I don't get upset about ketchup on hot dogs. However, 2 hot dogs I had at American Coney Island with chili and mustard were made. Thank you. Yes. You can also put chili on hot dogs. Also, okay, as long as you put mustard on that. That's all. That's all that matters. Mustard, and we're good. Yes, that's all that matters. All right. Let's see if I can keep going. Here. Yankees 5, Blue Jays 2. Thank you. They are the best team in the league. That's all, period. Okay. The slaw goes in a barbecue sandwich. People like that. Yes, and that's okay too. I'm totally fine with that too. Absolutely. Yes. Better on brats without question. Mustard on brats, amazing. Absolutely. 100%. Let's see. That yes, I'm listening. I'm watching. So yeah, I think that is an issue. Yes, thank you. Would you consider writing a book so we could purchase and distribute? Yes, I'm actually in the process of writing 2 different books. I will have 3 books that I hope by next year. That is my hope. I'm writing a book on happiness, a book on leadership, and my last one will be a book on government. Happiness will probably come out first, then leadership, and then eventually government. It's just hard to do with all the time and energy on other things I'm trying to achieve. I don't want to fall back into a cubbyhole and then start writing books. So yes, I'm working on it. They probably won't be out till end of this year, one of them, and then by next year another. Maybe either end of next year or after that will be the third. So that's how it will. That's how it will work. So yes. All right, guys. I want to say thank you so much for this evening. Please head on over, do the Patreon if you can. If you can't do the Patreon, no worries. As you always hear, I know some people are struggling. I got it. If you are, I get it completely. I've been there. Still there sometimes. Head on over to patreon.com/Sharpe Way. Give what you can. If you can't, no worries. Like, comment, and share. I say it every time. I'm going to keep saying it. Like, comment, share. Like, comment, share. It matters. I will not be on tomorrow. I'll be doing an event tomorrow with someone else. Again, probably another Libertarian candidate. But I will be on the day after. I will be on Friday. So I will see you all on Friday. Have a great night.